Hello again, everyone. Welcome back. This is my visual arts channel, Stractify 500. We are continuing with our perspective drawing series, and we just finished wrapping up staircases, which we did that using the 2-point perspective model as our main focus. And then from there, I will expand into 1-point and 3-point. Right now, we're going to jump into a basic introductory video into how to draw inclines and declines. All right, and I'm going to start with the basic 1-point perspective incline. All right, so basically what you need to understand to start off with is, of course, you start off with your single vanishing point on the horizon line, like so, and I will label that accordingly. Okay, but, well, no buts. In addition to that, what you need to understand is your vanishing point will be extended in such a way that it'll allow you to construct your inclines accurately. What I'm going to start off with is just a basic 1-point perspective, like the most basic way to construct an incline in 1-point perspective. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, so this line represents your center of vision, and your vanishing point will extend up and down this line, which is your center of vision, and which will definitely affect the look of your incline. All right, so before we get to that, let's just start off with some basics here. So basically, I'm going to go ahead and construct a little cube or box. Let me start down here somewhere. Actually, let me use these lines. Use that. Let me use that. I might change my mind, so just bear with me, okay? Okay, so there's our basic box, or the basic base of our box. This is not going to be a box, actually. This is just going to be a flat square on the ground plane. But it's still in perspective. So the 1-point perspective dictates the single point in 1-point perspective dictates that our perspective foreshortening lines that go to the vanishing point, they radiate basically. And then you have our horizontal lines here, which are parallel to our horizontal lines. So there is no perspective taking place with these horizontal lines. They stay the same. But with these radiating lines, they are affected by the single vanishing point to create this foreshortening that takes place here. Okay, so only this line is foreshortened. So with these two lines being foreshortened and these two lines not being foreshortened, I am going to go with, let me bring this up. So I'm going to create an incline that's like that. So if we're looking straight ahead, that's going to be like an A-frame house or the roof of a house or a triangle or prism, okay? But the middle portion is going to go down here, down the middle of the long side of the rectangle, headed towards the vanishing point. So to get that, what I'm going to do real quick is get the middle of or the center of that rectangle so that I can construct the center line that goes straight through that rectangle, like so. Okay, so with that in place, actually I don't need this. I might need that actually. I'm going to make sure all my perpendicular lines are on point. Make sure they're correct. So get that perpendicular line up there. And that perpendicular line up here. So that represents that right there. Okay, that perpendicular line represents that perpendicular line. Now I'm going to just go ahead and establish the height, which will be here. I'm just going to pick it arbitrarily. I'm not going to measure it or anything like that. Don't worry about true height or any of that stuff. It's just an arbitrary choice for the height of that line. And once I get that, all I have to do is strike a line from that point to the vanishing point. And so I get that height, okay? And so because let me go ahead and draw the incline real quick. All I have to do is connect this point to this point here, that corner in the rectangle. Okay, to get my roof or to get my tent, whatever I'm drawing, whatever this is going to be, whatever this is going to end up being. Right now it's just a prism, so we'll just call it that. And then do the same thing on the opposite end, like so. Let me make sure. Let me take a quick look, make sure I'm in frame. Bring that in a little bit. Okay. I'm going to do a dotted line. Like so. And then that goes there like that, okay? So let me go ahead and just darken this real quick. All right, so that's just really very basic and very straightforward. And what you need to understand about that is that this incline is affected by this plane here, okay? And these two lines, this plane, is not affected by the vanishing point at all. So there's no foreshortening taking place. So basically, whatever is here, this incline is formed by this square that is part of this parallel line just raising up like that, okay? And since it is not affected by foreshortening, by perspective foreshortening, it's just, you just get this very basic, straightforward construction that we just did here, okay? Here and here. All right? So, and that's because, again, like I said, this rectangle affected by these two parallel lines, this rectangle here affected by the same two parallel lines, and creating the opposite ends of this tent, the opposite sides of this tent, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take this shape and sort of turn it around. Okay, so basically, instead of having this, what we're now going to have is that and that, like that, okay? And the tent will be flipped or will be rotated, not flipped, but rotated, such that the incline, instead of being affected by these two lines going this way, these two parallel lines, it's now going to be affected by these two lines, which are headed towards the vanishing point. So they will be affected in a very specific way. Let's go ahead and explore that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and construct another cube. Well, not another cube, another flat square on the ground, or a flat rectangle on the ground. I'm just going to extend these two, line them up nicely. Okay, so I'm eyeballing things a little bit. So even though I'm making every effort to be super accurate and to align things nicely, any little thing that throws things off might throw off the drawing. It might not be as perfect as it seems, and if there's any imperfection, I'll be quick to point it out and let you know what it should look like. Okay? All right, so I'm gonna have that, and we're gonna have that. Okay? So basically, instead of having, you know what, let me get the, so that, let me make this abundantly clear. Again, I'm gonna go ahead and establish the center line, well, the center and then the center line of this square that's on the ground, like so, okay? But whereas you had this center line going through the center and headed straight for the vanishing point, I am going to have this center line be horizontal, okay? So it's going to represent the horizontal it's going to represent the horizontal configuration. So this represents the vertical, or the line headed towards the vanishing point. This represents the horizontal, okay? So, okay, let me figure out how to explain this properly, because I think I mixed things up a little bit, okay? So, the incline here is affected by the horizontal, whereas the incline here is going to be affected by the vertical, which will be affected by this vanishing point. All right? I might circle back around and explain that a little bit better, say that in a better way that, you know, that I like more than what I've just said. Anyway, never mind. Let's move forward. Okay, so this is the center line that we're going for, and we're going for, again, we're going for this configuration where you have an equal incline on one side and an equal incline on the other side. And we will deal with inclines where you have one that's a little asymmetrical or uneven on one side and uneven on, it inclines at its own angle on one side and at a different angle on the other side. So it will be asymmetrical in that way. Here we're dealing with a symmetrical incline. There we go, I simplified it. All right, so that's what we're dealing with here. Now, to be able to achieve that, what you want to do is now you want to extend your vanishing point. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ruler, and from that point right there, that middle point, here we go. Let's see. Yeah. So we're going to go up three measures, 3 inches up this way. So this will be our extended VP. We'll call it, I'll just label it A, but this is a vanishing point, okay? And I'm gonna go down equally here, 3 measures, 3 inches. And this will be, and I'll just call it A, vanishing point A and vanishing point A, to know that they belong together. Okay, not A, B, C, D, A, and then if I do another one, it'll be B, B. They go in pairs, all right? So once I've got that established, we want this incline, okay? Because we've already taken care of these 2 inclines. We've already established how to construct that here. It's parallel, so we don't have to do anything special here. It's just straightforward. Here, the vanishing point is going up this way. I mean, the incline is going up this way and declining this way, affected by this vanishing point, which it's affected by this vanishing point. This vanishing point is now extended to vanishing point A and vanishing point A, or vanishing point A above the horizon line, vanishing point A below the horizon line. We're going to use both of those to get the 2 sides of the inclines. So since this is rising, this is going to be our incline. It's going to be affected by this vanishing point. Let's see how that works. What you do is you go to each edge, each corner, and you project from those corners to that vanishing point, okay? So I guess in the same way, if you have, well, I shouldn't have to draw it. This point goes to this vanishing point. This point on the flat rectangle goes to this vanishing point. Now, this point and this point, instead of going to this vanishing point, which it has already done, we want to take it to that vanishing point. Let's see what happens. All right, so I'm just going to indicate with arrows, since we're getting a bunch of multiple lines. I don't want you guys being confused. So that's your incline taking place, okay? That's your incline happening right there. Now we want to get, so we've got one side. Let's say we've got this side. Now we want to get the other side, which will now be a decline. It's declining now, and it's going to decline towards this vanishing point, okay? So what you want to do is you want to establish your 2 points, the ends of your square, and then you want to project lines from those corners to this vanishing point, okay? And in this case, I'm just going to go to the vanishing point, connect to that corner, and then I'm going to project the line through that corner all the way out, okay? And I'm going to just put an arrow right there so that you guys know what line belongs to what, because we're having a bunch of confusing lines. I should do this in color at some point. Maybe I should do another, well, anyway, we'll see. I have not decided. Through the other corner, okay? And there goes that line. I'll put an arrow right there to indicate what's going on. I don't know what this is doing here. Nobody invited this guy to the party. Okay, that's what's happening. All right, so where the lines intersect is where we'll get the top of our tent, or the top of our prism. Okay, so I need to make sure I connect these correctly. So this line and this line, they intersect right, there's an intersection right there. And then we have these two intersecting right here. Yep. And so when I connect them, like so, that's what we get. You can see it's slightly off. I know this is slightly off because this is not parallel with this. This should be parallel with this, okay? Because, I mean, this is now the horizontal. This horizontal is working with all these other horizontals, which should be parallel with the horizon line. It's not, so something is a little off. Sometimes these inclines and declines can be a little bit tricky, so it takes a little bit of playing with, a little bit of practice to really get it right. As simple as it can seem, it's easy to get thrown off a little bit. But like I said, if there's any mistake going on with my construction, I will be quick to point it out and let you know where that mistake is and specifically what to avoid. Specifically what to avoid when you guys are doing your work. All right, there we go. All right, so that is how the incline works in one-point perspective. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. And in the next video, I will focus on inclines in two-point perspective. Okay, so this is the Visual Arts channel, Stractify 500, where I cover concepts and techniques in drawing and composition, and then I take the things that I cover and apply them to small projects later on. So as the channel continues, we're going to expand into a few other things where I apply a lot of these techniques that I talk about. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Like, comment, and subscribe, and let your friends know about this channel. Spread the word, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.